Today's edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox is brought to you by Grandpa's Cafe in Dania.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa on.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. No, actually, it's still morning. So let's say good morning, everybody. I'm all confused today, and we are having a brunch edition of the Lunchbox from one of our favorite places, Grandpa's Bagel Deli and Cafe in Dania Beach. We've got Jeff Defo DeForest holding down the fort at his homestead.
Yes.
And missing in action today is one Mark Fried, because there's a little bit of a confusion here, and it's a shame because we always love kibitzing a little bit with Mark Fried, a fellow Brooklyn boy, grew up there in the same borough as Defo and I. Defo, how are you this morning?
Couldn't be better. It's great. Every picture tells a story. I love the pictures that were the prelude to today's show because it shows the change. Because when I first popped on here, I said, "Is that Mayo?" Now, I was getting a little bit of a silhouette effect there with the lighting, but you are a fragment of what you were when the look of horror on my face as you were shoveling that turkey sandwich in at Grandpa's at one of our previous appearances. I have to say, I mean, it's a metamorphosis, my friend.
Not only, well, I'm glad that it's noticeable even on camera because they said the camera adds 10 pounds. Now, I've lost about 20 since I started my health journey.
So consider that 10.
And I think, now I think even the places are getting the gist of it because now for the second day in a row, we have basically nobody from the establishment is joining us on the show. Yesterday, Gene and Jose were so busy, they didn't even have time to break free from the crowds at Delaware Chicken and Seafood. And they prepared me a very healthy meal of fish. And, it was a nice piece of, I guess, let the record show we misspoke
branzino.
yesterday. It was branzino was the filet.
Yes.
And that was nice, lightly sauteed. And then it was a fried whole snapper. We got that one right. And the snapper was delicious, moist inside. And then they brought out your favorite, the gefilte fish. But, and then like Don Jaffe being the shit stirrer that I always like to be, was saying, why don't you do a big bite of the whole fish with the head and the bones and all? And I was like, no, but I will do a what do you
broccoli
call it? Broccoli floret. And
that was a disgrace, by the way, to the show.
And I think
maybe that's why people aren't appearing with you. Listen, every time I go to Batch Southern Kitchen, what does Kevin or Brandon want to see? They want to see you shovel like an entire hoagie in there at one time. And it is remarkable, but this restraint is good. Although I do see, I was counting this up. I was doing a little inventory, Mike Mayo and Lubie. 2 people there on the set and what looks like about 6 meals.
Well, because of the upcoming Passover holiday that starts on Saturday, runs 8 days. Most people have 2 Seder nights, so it would be Saturday night and Sunday night. In my case, I'm going to be doing it a little late and having 1 Seder on Monday night so I could celebrate with my brother on his day off. But we just wanted to showcase some of the great things that they have for the holiday here at Grandpa's. You could call up Clive. Give him a call at 954-923-2163. I even memorized the number before the show because this will be on my holiday table, not this exact plate, but on Monday, I'm going to order a boatload of brisket. I love the way he thin slices the brisket and along with the matzo ball soup. Now, I'm a little disappointed that Fried couldn't make it today because I had some news for him that hopefully will make him happy, but I wanted to also drum up a little bit of support. You know how the Sun Sentinel has been doing these monthly contests of, best burger, best fried chicken, yada, yada, yada. They had a best bagel. For some reason, Grandpa's did not emerge victorious. They were one of the finalists. But can you guess what this month's best of is going to be? And it coincides with Passover. And I'm just going to point to the thing right here in front of me.
Matzo ball soup?
Yeah. Yes.
The best matzo balls and matzo ball soup.
Do you know all of the nominees?
Yeah, that's what's funny.
No, well, here's the thing. So the Sun Sentinel is going to be announcing this contest and publishing the fact that they're looking for nominees today. And I say that Grandpa's has some of the best matzo balls in town.
Yep.
And everybody could kind of load up whatever their favorites are. You know, a bunch of delis up in the Palm Beach area, you know, in Boca and Del Rey. But I want people to make sure that Grandpa's is in the hunt. They're going to be 5 finalists. And here's the other news of the day. Once again, the Lunchbox will be doing a show where we're going to have the 5 finalists and a blind tasting of a judging panel. But however, for reasons of that I still have, I do have a modicum of, I guess, that old journalistic ethics. I told them we would be happy to do a tasting show of the matzo balls, but because of my conflicts in that Grandpa's is a great sponsor of ours, and I am very partial to the matzo balls here. I cannot be one of the judges, but we'll be emceeing the show, and we'll have a judging panel. I might get Danny Surfer from Blue Collar to come on.
He knows his stuff, and he's made it himself, too. That's actually a nice call.
Blue Collar is going to be
my friend Big Jack would be the guy to have on this panel.
Hey, we have some
he is a connoisseur of every kosher joint in Florida. Well, he keeps kosher, and I respect that. I mean, whatever you want to do is good, but it makes for some very difficult times and decisions to be made, and sometimes you just can't flat out eat when you want to. But he knows and is aware of every great matzo ball soup that's out there.
Yeah, and look, you don't have to be kosher to know a good matzo ball. You don't have to be Jewish to eat a matzo ball.
My wife loves
but
matzo balls.
The judging panel so far will have one person who's the new editor of the I think it's called the Jewish Journal, which is a Sun Sentinel affiliate paper.
That's where I get my odds from.
People always talk about that. Francesco gets his odds from the Jewish Journal. Or
no,
Tony
true. I mean, you're looking at the line, it's like 3.5. He's got it at 6.5 in his phone. Like, where did you get this from? The Jewish Journal? What does it come out every other week?
I think it's a monthly now. We'll find out more when she's on the judging panel. I don't even have her name in front of me. But another one who'll be there from the Sun Sentinel, Lois Solomon, is a reporter who covers a lot of restaurant news up in Palm Beach. And actually, she covered the latest, our friend Ellen Fried, who was at the Brunch Bash on Sunday, but she did one of her, she calls it meetups, because she runs these different little Facebook groups. One that centers on pastrami, one of them centers on burgers, but she had one of her meetups at Ben's Kosher Deli in Boca Raton on Sunday evening, and she had a nice group. I think like 20-something people out there. So now Ellen Fried.
People would throw in 2 J's, I think, as an automatic. No, I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not familiar enough recently with their matzo balls.
I haven't been there in a long time.
I don't sense a lot of love for 2 J's out there. And let's see
some acrimony there, but I would imagine they put out a decent matzo ball soup. I'm thinking also our friends at the Pomperdale Deli, which is
Pomperdale Deli does a great
away
job.
from Grandpa's, but always was known for that sort of thing.
Job. Yeah.
Now, the question is, do you like sinkers or floaters? What kind of matzo ball do you like?
What kind of question is that?
But actually,
it's a matzo ball.
People
question.
don't usually talk about it that
I
way.
just had a bowel movement, and you're going to talk.
No, you went right into the toilet and
the way you.
Well, I had to. I mean, you put me right there.
I think most people who are aficionados,
I like them a little fluffy and light. So I would
fluffy
say
and light or dense is how
sinkers
I've heard it.
are the dense ones. Now, this one happens to be a little bit dense today, and the floaters are the light and fluffy ones.
Yes.
You know the difference between these sinkers and the floaters?
No, exactly.
Fishing
Yeah,
weights.
exactly. There's metal
Now
on
I'm
it.
cringing when I say it. But in order to get it light and fluffy, it is my grandmother's old trick where you use seltzer water.
Oh, interesting.
And she used to use the one out of the blue bottles, the siphon bottles that they would put upstairs, the actual glass seltzer bottles. When you would spritz that into your matzo meal mix before you rolled your balls.
Listen to you. This is so laced with sexual double entendre and bathroom.
You're the one who's going there. I'm staying in the food lane.
I'm just
but I prefer, usually I like and it's like everything else in food. It's subjective. Some people like the light and fluffy.
Yep.
Some like it a little denser and more of like a dumpling type thing. I say there's room at the table for everybody. So look at on your sunsentinel.com website and on the Let's Eat South Florida group later today. You will get the all the details of how you nominate your favorite place that has your favorite matzo ball soup.
I think you also have to take into consideration the soup itself.
I would.
Because I mean, it can be made or destroyed by the soup surrounding it, and especially the treatment of the celery, carrots, and any onions that might be in it.
Now, I'm a little concerned. I think there you've gotten the memo about me because
there's
not
no
only
noodles.
okay, they haven't given us setups, so we are looking at all this
I don't even
beautiful
wanna
food. We
eat
got the
anything.
brisket platter, we got some breakfast stuff.
That never stopped you before.
It's like Mayo's hell.
But
They give
there's
you
no
great
way
food
to
and you
eat
can't
it,
eat it.
which is fine because I don't want to necessarily eat a lot. But the matzo ball soup I noticed doesn't
I don't
have
see
any
any
noodles in
noodles.
it, and I criticized the noodles last time I was here because they use kind of the more of the pasta vermicelli noodles as
Yeah.
opposed
Really,
to
you actually criticize the noodles in that soup? That soup is great, by the way. If it
well,
doesn't win,
this
there
one
may
is
be an injustice being performed,
the
but you never know. It's subjective.
this soup. The broth is excellent. They make it in house,
It
and
is
that
so
to me
fantastic.
is part of the
That's
equation.
the whole thing, honestly.
Because if you're going to be using any kind of commercial product in terms of your broth,
You
forget
gotta make
about
it,
it. You
yeah.
need to have homemade make your stock from scratch, which they do here at Grandpa's,
Yep.
and it's chock full of celery and chicken pieces and carrots. Sorry, Val, and they've got a nice matzo ball. Now I notice this particular version has no noodles, and I'm going to ask my Jewish expert, my resident expert in Judaism, Mike
Yeah.
Lubie Lubitz,
Yeah.
is that because
Passover, you
noodles
know
are not
noodles.
kosher for Passover?
Maybe
Could
that's
be.
actually interesting. I took it as you brought them noodles, so now they're like, screw you, Mayo, and I'm going to give you noodles at all.
Yeah.
I don't deserve them.
But on Passover, and they do now over the years of make a Passover friendly noodle, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because they just disintegrate. Yes.
Throw a matzah in there, some matzah bread.
Most of the time on Passover, this is what you would get. You get the broth, all the veggies, and you would get the matzo ball. So maybe in honor of Passover, because we do have the brisket, which is a big time Passover meal. That exact meal, honestly, is what my mom would make. I think the second night she usually does like she does turkey one night and then the brisket's a fan favorite, and she does that the second night to keep people
the classic
interested.
daily double of the Jewish.
Here's what stands out though about it. I mean, and I'm a big fan. The flavor of the carrots has to be right on.
Yeah,
spot on. And you get a lot of tasteless vegetables sometimes in matzo ball soup, and that for me is a deal breaker in terms of rating them. They may make a great matzo ball. The broth might be all right, but if the vegetables don't come out right and have a lot of flavor, it's sort of a lost cause. So I would put Grandpa's having. I can taste the carrots and the celery in there, even as you're eating it. So
it's funny you mention it because I just took a bite that included kind of the trinity of the onions, celery, and carrots. I took it all in one bite, and they were all kind of soft that they absorbed some of the soup. Yeah. And this soup doesn't need any salt. You know, sometimes you go to a place that underseasons
you have to add stuff.
This is perfectly seasoned. And
what's interesting is a lot of the time, sometimes it can be too mushy too. That's the thing, especially the carrots. If you want them to be not too hard, but they can literally fall apart and become a part of the soup. I like the way they do it here, where it's like it's a carrot, it's distinct, but it's not like crunchy. Like the way they do everything here is just the time. Clyde, if he's doing the matzo ball soup, then that's amazing, good for him because he's really got it down. And the brisket, literally, usually you can tell what brisket is compared to a roast beef, just the way that it's sliced, the way that it's put together. That brisket, it's of course a higher quality than a roast beef, but I would confuse it for roast beef just how thin it's sliced. I've never seen brisket sliced that thin.
He slices brisket like locks, like like in the Sorvino, right? Like it's like you can hold it up to the light.
Never seen it that thin in my entire life.
See-through, right?
My grandfather was a butcher. We've been dealing with meat my whole life, and I've never seen. They get it so thin that even if you wouldn't like brisket, I would think you would like this.
Oh yeah,
because sometimes brisket can be thick and it's like meat, in which I enjoy, but to have it like this, where it'd be like a deli meat, it's pretty cool.
And it's not tough. It's, when you kind of bring it home with the gravy or the au jus and you kind of like steam it up in a little bit of the au jus, and it loosens it up and it makes it nice and tender. And I almost want to just pile it on a bun and just eat a nice big brisket sandwich, except for the fact that it's Passover and in order to be, religiously appropriate.
How come nobody's come out with a matzo ball Parmesan hoagie?
How about like a matzo?
That would be another way of doing it.
And you know what?
Why does it have to be in soup?
I heard from Jeff Cohen. Well, matzo balls.
That's where it's its best.
Maybe those guys from.
I'm trying to think of that.
No.
Oh, was it Chuck's? The guys were there. The famous hoagie place. No, in Hollywood. You guys are going there on Monday.
Sonny's. Yeah,
Sonny's.
Sonny's famous steak hoagies. We're going to be there Monday.
Can you do a matzo ball hoagie?
I don't think they want to do a matzo ball hoagie.
It's already enough.
They're good Italians from Philadelphia, and they want to do cheesesteaks.
What other applications are there in
of a matzo ball itself?
Matzo ball. I mean, besides throwing it in soup.
Yeah, well, you
That's
could
it.
just throw it. You could have like a shot put competition with matzo balls instead of the shot put.
Can you eat it with
but
cottage cheese? I mean, there are not a lot of applications of it.
no, the only
Really?
application of a matzo ball is in the soup.
Yeah.
I don't think you're onto something though, because if you put a matzo ball
I
on
don't
top,
want it in anything
What
else.
if you melted some cheese, put some tomato sauce on there?
No.
would you put it on?
Oh, how about on Skyline chili?
How about on spaghetti?
Bit of beans.
And just do a little grated Parmesan cheese.
No, you guys are pushing something that's already borderline into areas it
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
need to
this
go.
is.
I
So
mean,
once
essentially,
again,
these are probably great. And there are people that are, I'm sure, are connoisseurs of it. But it's tough to rate, isn't it? I mean, it's somewhat tasteless. No, Mike Mayo, what do you think?
I don't know. We're gonna
In
find
general,
out.
the matzo ball. I'm not talking about any specific places. They all have their different abilities to put them together and make them great, which Grandpa's does. I'm not a big matzo ball guy, but I like what they do there. I mean,
We're
Yes.
gonna get more clarification about the actual contest, whether they're talking about the entire package of the soup with the matzo ball or just the matzo ball itself. Because you're right.
Because that's
I mean,
tough. Like
matzo balls are supposed to be kind of tasteless, although some people put in some herbs
they
and
have
things, and might have a
I
little
mean, you
bit
can
of
see
flavor.
the pepper and stuff in it. That's interesting, yeah, because a lot of like my family will grade. My mom makes them from scratch every year, and my family will grade it. Are they heavier? Or are they like Defo likes them lighter and fluffy? But it also goes along with the soup. Like it's hard for me to separate because a lot of time it's hard. I've never heard someone say that's a great matzo ball, but that's a sucky matzo ball soup. Like the broth, the veggies, and the matzo ball all sort of go hand in hand. So
but you can't open up a box of Lipton chicken soup and then just throw any matzo ball in there. I mean, you need to really have this
People
whole
can, but
thing
it doesn't
evolved
work.
together.
No, and in order to make a proper matzo ball, you can't get those little pre-made packages that come from Manischewitz. Where you
Are there
just
frozen
stuff
matzo
it
balls out there on the
They have
market?
pre-made
There's
matzo
everything
balls.
out
They
there,
have
but
pre-made matzo
you
balls.
got to do it the old-fashioned way. You got to get the matzo meal, and then you got to
Yeah.
I imagine you put some eggs in it, and then you
I'm
put
sure.
your water or seltzer and some of your herbs and pepper.
Any of them jarred like a filter fish? And
Oh
served
God,
as
with a
kind of
jelly.
gel? Yeah.
Now you're onto something.
I feel
Maybe
like
that's the
I
next
feel like
big
they
food
exist.
product.
I feel like they exist. I'm spoiled. Like
But we haven't
people made them.
dived deeply enough into the history of the matzo ball here to really
I tell you what,
qualify it. It's a good thing you recuse yourself.
Let me
from
give
the
you
judge.
let me give people the
matzo
timeline.
ball talk.
We are going to be doing that blind
Matzo ball talk.
judging matzo ball show on Tuesday, May 6th. And how's this for a juxtaposition?
Okay, it's right after Passover.
Monday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, we're going to be at the block party with our friend Mark Falsetto and Danielle
Oh, yeah.
Falsetto at Taco Craft in
Yeah.
Plantation at
Which is
Plantation Walk.
A
They have a
wild
big,
party. Wild.
big block party for Cinco de Mayo. So we're going to go straight from doing tequila shots and having all
Tacos.
kinds of tacos right into the matzo
The
ball
matzo
competition
balls.
the next day.
You have to
Tuesday,
be
May
versatile.
6th, we're going to have a distinguished panel of judges who are going to blind taste the 5 finalists. Now, they're going to be announcing the contest today, collecting nominees, I think, through either this Sunday or the following Sunday, probably, and then tally up who are the 5 finalists. So it'll be Sunday, the 20th, that they'll announce the 5 finalists. And then we'll do our judging in conjunction with after they've already tabulated the final votes.
Okay, so in
But
the
they
top
will
Lubie
five.
be a judge? Is
What's that?
Lubie disqualified?
Luby's disqualified. Anybody
anybody
who's on the
Oh,
show.
this is so good.
So, but here's
oh, it's
my
Grandpa's.
question:
Who
Is
knew?
But it's a
Is
blind
it-
tasting.
is
I mean,
it-
you could end up ranking them 5th.
That's the
well,
problem.
that's
we don't
not
want to
the
piss off
problem.
our
I would
sponsors.
imagine they're going to
Could
fair
end the
play.
relationship right there.
No, I think
Probably.
they'll be top
Yeah.
3.
The question is, would it be bad form if I kind of did a tasting on the side, not as an official judge, but as host of the show,
See, I think you
running
should
it,
eat.
and just chime in with my comments
Yes.
and say this is
I
garbage
no, see,
and
don't.
this is the best.
Well, they're the judges' choices, and in this case, for a rare time, you would be the guy giving the people's choice.
Yes.
Yes,
I think that's what you should be, is because again, we either don't want to prop up our sponsors or we don't want to slam our sponsors too. I will be honest. But we've just done 20 minutes on matzo balls, so you definitely
Yeah.
have an opinion, a strong opinion, and an educated opinion that you've been eating for over 50 years. You've been eating matzo balls, so
Almost
for you
60.
not for us to do a show and you just watch other people eat would be weird.
Well,
So
I'm gonna
I
be
think you-
neutral. I'll be a
I
nice
think you should
host.
join in. I think you should give your.
You have to weigh in, man.
None of them are going to be bad. If it's a top 5, like even when we did the pizza and we didn't love every
Yeah.
pizza, we didn't slam.
I'm going to be
anyone, like,
neutral like Switzerland. I'm going to be like the Ryan Seacrest of,
That's fine.
of hosts.
See, I'd rather you join
But I
in
will
too.
take a taste and give
I think
some
you should taste,
mostly
give
positive
opinion,
comments.
but don't give grade. Like a lot of
Right.
times they'll give you it's a 3, it's a 5, it's a 2. I think you shouldn't give a score.
Right.
just taste it and give it's
I think
powerful.
Mayo's going to end up coming to blows with one of the judges if his opinion is not
So Lois
consistent
Solomon,
with what they decided in terms of the awards.
new
Hey,
editor.
what's on that bagel, man? Never mind all of this. I mean,
Which
you
one?
got
For the
me going
sesame
crazy
seed?
with
Oh,
this.
this is
No,
my
not that
breakfast
one. The other one there. What is that?
That's their breakfast sandwich is great because it's pretty much 2 breakfast sandwiches in one. They like give you double the egg, double the sausage, double the cheese,
It
and
looks
it's on their
amazing.
massive bagels. So like I literally can't eat the whole thing. So I usually like make it 2 separate sandwiches. And I'm waiting for the break to start to sort of
Don't
dive
you
into
need
that.
to stop by my house on the way home, Lubie? Drop
I have
off
a question
in
for the
Manhattan?
It's not horrible.
resident expert in Judaism, Mike
Oh, that's
Lubitz.
me.
Is it appropriate to put a bacon on the cream cheese on a
Is it
bacon? Bacon and
appropriate?
cream cheese.
No, obviously not. But does it work? Probably. You're just combining a lot of really good flavors. So like I don't think it'd be bad.
That's
Especially
pretty
bacon,
good.
a lot of time will have a sweet, salty thing to
Cream
it.
cheese
So now
and
you're just,
bacon is a new one, I think. No?
No,
of
you know
course.
what? Some
Mayo,
of these
most of what Mayo does.
newfangled bagel shops that are popping up.
Cream cheese and bacon? Wow.
Oh, have you
They
been to any
have-
of them that have the crazy flavor?
I've been Jewish my whole life. I never saw anybody, and not because of any kosher dietary reasons, because
No.
I've eaten bacon. But
Some
I've
of these-
never even, and I love cream cheese, but I never thought about
There's one that has
The
like a
two of
them.
Dorito
Let me tell you,
bagel.
It works. So there's these
And I wanted
newfangled
to check it out, actually. My sister went to one last week.
newfangled bagel shops that have all these bizarre flavors. You know, they have the unicorn
Like
bagel.
Oreo. They do like an Oreo.
They have an Oreo cream cheese. They have blueberry cream cheese. And then I've also seen a bacon cream cheese where they crumble up bacon and put it in the cream cheese.
Maybe.
This-
It's better than chives, I think. I'm not a big fan of.
I'm not a
cream
huge
cheese.
chive fan.
I
either.
love
That's different. I
chives.
know
How
Shirley.
could you just-
Shirley loves chive cheese. I'm boardline Jew in my eating taste. So we've admitted. I've said this. My wife is a way better Jewish eater than I am. My Dominican Catholic wife, she'll pound gefilte fish. She will pound like when my cousins are raising for 2 and 3 matzo balls. My wife wants 2 and 3. I'm like Defo, like I'll eat it, but I don't grade them. Like I don't know if it's good or bad because I'm like about it.
Chive cheese with like lox is the classic combination.
I mean, Passover was a holiday where you wondered why people cooked to make
My mom
everything
tries-
tasteless. Well, for a lot of my upbringing, especially, we've talked about this many times about the brisket, and you may as well have just, thrown it into a kiln. So,
It's an endurance
another-
contest these days. You know, I found something.
yeah, I mean, you didn't know whether to eat it or make
I
an
found
ashtray.
something in my photo collection today that I don't know if you've ever seen it. It must be online somewhere, but it's called the 2-minute Haggadah. So
Oh,
that
nice.
it
That's a
boils
move.
down that whole ponderous 1-hour ceremony.
Where they name Azariah and
where they
Akiva
basically
and-
just says, it reduced. I'm going to find it and I'll
right.
recite some
we
of
can
it
take a
during
break
the
and
next
then we can
segment.
do it,
So
yeah.
let's take our first break
Yes.
today. And before we do, Tropical Acres is one of our great sponsors.
Love 'em.
It's right down the road. And I just have to tell people that besides the usual great dinners that you can have there, the happy hours from Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30 in the bar, the half price wine on Monday and Tuesday, they are open for the upcoming holidays. It's going to be open for Easter Sunday on April 20th and Mother's Day, May 11th. Now, the only way you get reservations at Tropical Acres is the old-fashioned way, which is picking up a phone and calling them. So give them a call today at 954-989-2500. They are filling up fast for both holidays. They are open from 1 to 8 p.m. on both of those holidays. Again, they usually are closed on Sundays, but for Easter and Mother's Day, Tropical Acres will be open from 1 to 8 p.m. Call today, make a reservation. Don't get shut out because it's a great place to celebrate Easter and Mom. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, let's take that first break, and then we'll continue dissecting the history
And I'll
of
get you
matzo
some
balls.
silverware so you can eat because this is depressing.
Can you give us like a cross section? You should cut one in
of
half.
a
and
matzo ball?
Oh,
hold
honestly,
it
that's
up as a
not
demonstration.
worth it.
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
you don't have to do that now.
When it comes
I
back,
thought you were
gonna
going to say
put
to
it in
Jack
mine.
Studio.
we're going to put you in the postage stamp,
and
and
then
so
we'll
we'll
go
be able to see the
big
food a little
matzo ball
better,
fest.
and then I will give you a cross section.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't
Okay.
mind being
Sorry.
obscure.
We'll be
That's
back
great.
on the Lunchbox
Too much
after
meat.
these words. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima. For reservations and information, go to tavernakima.com. When I get a craving for real Southern barbecue, Fat Boy's Barbecue is the place that I call home. Cooked low and slow with proper smoke and dry rub goodness, Fat Boy's has some of the best ribs, brisket, burnt ends, pulled pork, and chicken around. 5 delectable sauces and the tastiest collard greens, candied yams, and cornbread this side of heaven. 4 locations, including Deerfield, Coral Springs, Cypress Creek Road, and their newest location in downtown Fort Lauderdale, 706 South Federal Highway. Open 7 days with great lunch specials, online ordering, delivery, catering, and food trucks for your next event. To order, go to fatboysbarbecue.com today. That's Fat. Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen. Delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar. A great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi. Fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox. We now have an expanded view of the table and all the food, the matzo ball soup, which is going to be in competition soon. Sun Sentinel unveiling their new Best in South Florida series. Matzo ball. I don't know if it's just the matzo balls or the soup is included. I would include the soup.
I think it should
that's
be matzo
key.
ball soup.
It should be matzo ball soup. Best matzo ball soup. Now, Defo, you wanted to see some things like, well, first of all, I'm holding up a full matzo ball.
They
here.
make a big
I don't want to drip on the brisket, but you can see now against
size.
Now, should I bring a digital scale to the competition and weigh the matzo balls? Is there an optimal weight for a matzo ball?
I think flavor would be the ultimate decision
Consist-
maker on that one. That should be the
Not
deciding
about
factor. Flavor. I mean, I guess people. I'm not that finicky about it. I mean, you asked me if I like floaters or
Floaters or
barrels or whatever
sinkers?
that was or
Sink-
sinkers. Either way, as long as it's good. I mean, but I don't expect much. I'm with Tommy T, who's on the chat line. Can you see Tommy T?
Oh,
Spending
I
a
got
lot
to
of
give
time in the
him
kitchen putting
a
matzo balls
push
together.
because
Can you see Reno Sorbonne making
Tom
matzo?
Tannenzy.
I mean,
Lee
Italians
Lamb
always joke
making matzo balls.
because you'll see like Sebastian Maniscalco is married to a Jewish woman, and he's like, I actually love the Jews. They're very close to Italians. The problem is they just need to have Italians cater the Seder. But it's not on purpose. Like you
Yes.
can't do any of the fun stuff. Like there's bread almost involved in
Yeah, if you gotta
everything
have
they do.
matzah, that's no fun.
Like I don't know how Reno's making it better.
Right
Like I
there.
think he would do a great job.
What's your view on matzah brie?
I hate it.
You hate
Brian
it.
loves it. My family loves it. It's a big deal. They fight over the friggin' matzo brie. I'm like Defo. Like I actually observe it, but I just eat the stuff that is normal that I can still eat on Passover. Like I don't futz around with matzah pizza and it's matzah. I don't like matzah. I'm not a fan of it. I don't force it on myself. I just eat the things. Like I eat a lot of protein. I eat a lot of potatoes and a lot of veggies throughout Passover.
Although back in the day, I couldn't
I
get
know you
enough
like
matzah
matzah.
and butter, and we used to get it straight from the factory there. I believe there was a matzah factory that was putting out most of the matzahs that were available in New York. There might have been a couple of brands, but these guys were very prominent. And I want to say that it was right next to Mark Fried's favorite knish place of all time, Jonas Schimmel's. So, and we used to go there and we'd grab the knishes and then we'd get the matzahs right out of the oven. And it was just like any time you go to a bakery and you get something that is that fresh, it even enhanced what normally is a sort of
Now,
flavorless
we don't
item
have the
like
B
a matzo.
camera rolling.
I'm gonna can. I
We
don't think it's necessary.
you don't like doing that because sometimes it usually sets off all kinds of
You can
things
end
happen.
us.
Rube Goldberg.
And I don't know how I wanna
I can't believe you really went
No,
through with
I
the
mean, I
dissection of the
can
matzo ball
cross-section
here.
it. It's like you can see the interior. It pretty much looks all the same. It's just kind of a, like you said, it's not very exciting to look at, but I like eating them, and it's a tradition. When we do the show on May 6th, I will have a full history of the matzo ball, who developed it, why. But I did want to also put out a nice little push for Tom Tannenzini if he's on the chat line today.
He's not the biggest fan of the matzo ball.
No, but I'm talking about he did
Yeah,
a
he's kind of
food run. He's been doing now that he is, he doesn't have a brick and mortar restaurant anymore, but he does catering and he does these kind of every other week or sometimes every
Okay.
week, depending on interest. He'll create a bunch of food. You put your order in the middle of the week.
Okay.
And then on Saturday mornings, he's like Tri-Rail. He goes up and down the 95 corridor
Okay.
and he'll make drops where you make prearranged, you tell him, I'll pick it up in Hollywood. And then he has one stop in Fort Lauderdale. Go on his Tom's Louisiana Kitchen
Nice. On the
Facebook page and you see his weekly menu and his prices. Well, last weekend, because Val's daughter was in town and we all love Tom's cooking, and I haven't had it since the holidays, so we picked up as our friend Danny Surfa says, I can't use that word here, but a truckload of lasagna, red beans, gumbo. We had muffulettas.
Nice.
He had the special beef dish. He also made his red crab sauce for pasta. That was outstanding. And he's been badgering me about the clam chowder. He made clam chowder.
Okay.
And so
What was the issue with it? Because you clearly have an issue with it.
it had like a seasoning, and I don't know if it was tarragon or what.
Okay.
But it
was a different
I would
flavor.
say if I were ranking all the things and voting
was
one thing
lowest.
off the island, the clam chowder would go. But everything else was outstanding. I mean, like top-notch stuff. His red beans, with red beans and rice, it has the Andier sausage. It's so thick and hearty. It is better than anything I've had in New Orleans.
Yep.
That crab pasta sauce, it was all like just lump meat
I've seen it.
crab
He had
with
a picture
no
of it up,
shell. And it was
and it
in
looked
this
nuts.
beautiful kind of like a marinara bright pomodoro sauce. I
Nice.
made a bunch of penne the other night and just
Oh, you had
dumped
extra
the sauce on
Oh,
it.
that's nice.
Val couldn't stop eating it.
Nice.
Even I was on the new meds. I was plowing. I had 2 bowls of it. It
Wow.
was so good.
Nice.
That crab sauce, if he offers that again, people should really get that. All right. So
Oh, that's cool. So
Tom T, and I don't know why I shouldn't have
Well,
just
you
said
like people
the clam
knowing that
chowder
you're
is
honest.
fine.
It's fine. Tom T also has a thing of skin. that he'll probably take it as a challenge, and he will now make the best clam chowder you've ever had in your life. So, it's all right.
It had one little flavor in it. I don't know if it was tarragon or what. If you want to chime in on the chat line, and if it did have some particular herb or spice or flavoring that I couldn't quite put my finger on,
so that
and it wasn't like a traditional New England clam chowder, which is fine. I like people who put their own spin on it. But again, Tom T, he makes the best Cajun Louisiana food in town, and if you get a chance to pick it up at some point, you really should. All right, you want to hear the 2-minute Haggadah, Defo? No, I told you that this. I found this in my photos. I think my brother got it somewhere and printed it out from online. But instead of, I don't know. You've been to a bunch of Seders. What's the longest Seder that you've been to in terms of the amount of time that you spent reading the Haggadah, which is the book that explains the whole holiday?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been to some. I don't want to say long-winded because with respect to the religiosity aspect of it, but yeah, I mean, you were pretty tired.
It's like an hour. You're sitting there, you're gnawing on your own arm. It's like you would even eat gefilte fish at that point, I would imagine.
If I'm forced to end the ceremony, yeah, I might have considered it.
So, since we've got 2 minutes now, I'm going to do the 2-minute Haggadah. And if anybody's offended, I didn't write it. A guy named Michael Rubiner did. So you could direct all hate mail towards him. I don't know where he is, but it says the 2-minute Haggadah, a Passover service for the impatient. Opening prayers. Thanks, God, for creating wine. Drink wine. Thanks for creating produce. Eat parsley. Overview. Once we were slaves in Egypt, now we're free. That's why we're here doing this. 4 questions. What's up with the matzah? Number 2, what's the deal with horseradish? Number 3, what's with the dipping of the herbs? Number 4, what's this whole slouching at the table thing? Answers. Number 1, when we left Egypt, we were in a hurry. There wasn't any time to bake decent bread. Number 2, life was bitter, like horseradish. Number 3, it's called symbolism. Number 4, free people get to slouch.
It's called symbolism.
All right, and then he goes into the story of the 4 kids, 4 kinds of children, how to deal with them. The wise child, explain Passover. Simple child, explain Passover slowly. The silent child, explain Passover loudly. The wicked child, browbeat the child in front of the relatives. Speaking of children, we hit some matzahs. Whoever finds it gets $5.
No, okay.
And then it goes into the story of Passover and the 10 plagues and blah, blah, blah. Eat matzah, drink more wine, slouch. Thanks again, God, for everything. Serve the meal. There you go.
That actually feels like the Seder. That's what it is, really.
But speed it up. That's good.
I may you do that.
I'm going to send it to you, and feel free to use it at your next Seder so that you don't have to sit around. And again, drinking the 4 glasses of wine, that I could get down with.
Yes.
You're not going to any this year? You don't do Seders, right, Defo?
I don't intend to. I'm not planning on being at one this year, no. I've been at many, like I said in the past. I always enjoyed it. It's a
that's
family
my
thing.
Is
So,
everyone gets weird about it. The family doesn't get together that often anymore. So like I've always enjoyed at least the Seder. The Passover to me, being that I observe it, is a pain in the ass, especially now with doing the show. But the actual Seders, people want to run through the thing, and I'm like, yeah, but that's us being here. And like in my family, everyone reads. So like my cousins have kids and my sister has kids. Like, so the kids read, and it's cool seeing them grow up and reading in a group setting. So for me, like when everyone's very negative about it, Seder, I've always actually enjoy, as sadistic as it sounds, I've enjoyed them because it's like it's the Jewish Thanksgiving dinner. And my mom actually busts ass on making the food good. So it's not, that meal is actually, as Jewish meals go, is actually of the higher level, because my mom like has really worked at her craft over the years to make the brisket fantastic, to make the potatoes, to make. So I actually enjoy the Seder. Like I know I'm like a weirdo because I used to go.
Look, I love the whole tradition and the family.
And
getting
I'm huge
together.
with tradition. Like I'm just big.
When I was growing up, we had this cousin club, cemetery society. We call it a family circle, and it was a huge group of multiple generations and people spread out over the tri-state area. At that point, everybody lived either in the city or Long Island or Westchester, New Jersey. But everybody would gather at one of my cousin's houses in Long Island, and they had this huge back room where they'd set up all these tables, and we'd have 52 people.
Yeah, it's fun.
And a bunch of kids. And They always murdered the freaking brisket. The brisket was terrible, but there was some good desserts and things like that. But again, the Haggadah part was just terminal. We would sneak in some spritzers when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
I would have a little bit of the Manischewitz wine with club soda. So I was getting a little bit bombed at 8. And you know what? I would get geeked up for the afikomen, which is the
'cause you can
hiding the
make money.
matzah, because there would be like 12 kids at that point.
Vying for the money.
You know, of the 50, there's all these children, so there'd be like 12 or 15 of us. And yeah, it was elbows out, you know, in terms of trying to find that matzah, because they would give us like $5 or $10. And, you know, nothing motivates us like money.
Especially children, yeah. So I don't know. I've always had it. Again, when I was growing up, my great grandfather would lead it, and no one else read. So he would just, and it went fast. You're talking about time, because he would just do the thing where you're like in temple and they're reading so fast you don't know what they're saying. Like he would just buzz through it.
Oh, he'd buzz. He'd do.
But it was boring because it was just him. My family rolls their eyes, but I personally, I like that everyone reads, everyone gets involved, and I just like celebrating the traditions, because again, in our world, like traditions go by so fast, you know. So I just, especially the Jewish traditions, that aren't there for a lot of people.
That's anymore. The thing. So it's now almost a little bit of a wistful holiday for me, because most of the people that was in that room at those things are gone. You know, and my mom is gone now for a couple of years. My dad 5 years. So it's now it's become more of a wistful occasion, and but I still like to hold on to the tradition, and because it's important, you know.
It is.
So that's it.
So
and next
Passover is coming this Saturday,
Sunday night, Seder nights. Mine will be
and
Monday.
You have Easter too, so it
will include the beautiful brisket here from Grandpa's. Again, you could order some for your Passover table if you're celebrating. You could also order it for an Easter table, because there's nothing against the law that says you can't have good brisket or turkey. I mean, I know a lot of people do ham and lamb. And we'll be talking more about Easter next week. We're going to be with our friend Sophia
nice.
From Taverna Kima. We're going to be doing the show at Giorgio's a week from today, the new Giorgio's Cafe Bakery Bistro in where is it? It's Galt Ocean Mile.
Yes,
that's right.
It's the Galt.
But we'll be talking all about Easter and Greek Easter and lamb roasts and things like that with her next Wednesday. But this week is for Passover.
Yes.
And that's why we're here at Grandpa's. All right, let's take our second break. And then we'll come back and see what more we can discuss on the Lunchbox after these words. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk and Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new burrilla tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and looking for great seafood that's a little further inland? Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C. 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward. Some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the New River. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and all right, we're back on the Lunchbox. Grandpa's Bagel Cafe and Deli in Dania Beach. It's right off Federal Highway, just south of Dania Beach Boulevard. I used to live around the corner, and then I took my money and ran. And luckily, I did not invest my money wisely. I just let it sit in a big pile of cash and some CDs. And now,
which is not the worst idea.
I tell you what, you know what? I feel like doing for just fun is like taking out some money, like 5 and 10, all that, and just setting it on fire, because that's basically what's happening in the world today. Have you been following the seesaw these days? I guess the futures were way down, but then the market's open and they're actually up today.
Oh, they are.
Can you make any sense of what's going on, Jeff Defo, the Forest?
Well, yeah, it's one word summary. It rhymes with chump.
Well,
this is what the people wanted, and now they have it.
Yes. And now,
as the great Gordon Soley, the late great wrestling announcer, would say, there you have it.
So in deference
to what we have,
the widespread, uncertainty and people seeing their 401ks turn into 201ks, I been kind of having a sympathy bleed the last few days at Keeneland. I just seem to just be doing everything wrong. You know how a couple of weeks ago I just couldn't miss?
Yep.
Well, now I'm getting split out of every exacta. Somehow I'm not hitting, not playing the traditional trifecta in the last race, and instead getting screwed because I played the superfecta and it's coming back 850. But it's just been a tale of woe. Did you watch yesterday's races, which included the Bluegrass Stakes, which was oddly run on a Tuesday, but the last major Kentucky Derby prep of the year? Did you pay attention? And do you now have any,
favorites?
Do you see any visions for the Kentucky Derby itself, which is the first Saturday in May, just less than 4 weeks away?
Well, I did watch some of the prep races. I didn't see the race in its entirety, the Bluegrass yesterday, because I was out of the house for a while. I took advantage of the brief respite from the rainfall to do a walk of life, and it was around that time. They showed a replay, but the screen went blank in the middle of the race. So I didn't really see the significance of that. Your horse, Journalism, of course, prevailed over a field of 5, but some pricey competitors in there, including Barnes. The $3.2 million
Barnes is done.
purchase of Bob Baffert doesn't seem to fit the bill. I'm leaning a little. I know he was defeated in the Florida Derby, but I don't know that I would put a line through Sovereignty as a Kentucky Derby horse that has the style to win it, and of course Tappan Street, who beat him to the wire, would have to be considered also. So maybe the connections in Florida here turn out to be the right ones, but
Well,
uh, should be it's a great betting opportunity, wide open. If you were losing money your entire life, you have a chance to get out on a Kentucky Derby if you play your cards right or your horses.
I hate to be a homer and territorial, but like I'm tired of all these West Coast guys saying, "Oh, all the West Coast horses are vastly superior." I don't think so, and I think if you look at the past history and the recent history, horses that come out of the Gulfstream meet and that come out of the Florida Derby do pretty well in the Kentucky Derby. And you mentioned Sovereignty. I happen to love him. I played. There was this futures pool that closed last Saturday before all the big final prep races were run. And some of my big plays were two horses that ran in Florida. One of them was Grande, but he went on to finish second in the Wood Memorial and a very good, useful second place finish. He's going to be on the bubble. He has 50 points. And depending on which horses from Europe or Japan or the ones that come from the Middle East route now, there's like 3 slots for these horses, depending if they show up or not. But I think Grande will get in the race. And again, I have him at 50-1 in the futures book, $25.
Jesus, good for you.
And play for a few months of balls with that.
Yeah. And I also played Sovereignty, and they also have these future exactas. And I got Sovereignty and Grande and Journalism in an exacta box. Nice. And that could pay some healthy returns. Now, yesterday, it was intriguing because the Bluegrass Stakes, again, a very nice race at Keeneland, and had a select field of 8, and the winner was Burnham Square, which is another horse familiar to Gulfstream players.
Oh, nice.
Burnham Square won, I believe, was it the Fountain of Youth or it was the Fountain of Youth, and no, Sovereignty won the Fountain of Youth. Sorry, Burnham Square won the one before it, the Holy Bull.
Oh, wow.
And he made a nice move. It's hard to close in a track on a track like Gulfstream, but Burnham Square also made a late move on a Keeneland's track, which is also usually speed favoring. And he split horse. He made a very nice prolonged drive in the last, 1/8 of a mile furlong. Burnham Square is in the picture. He won yesterday. And then East Avenue finished second. And the third place horse was Thames River, who also was based at Gulfstream during the winter meet and finished, I believe, second to Sovereignty in the Fountain of Youth. So Thames River is also in the mix. And, so there's a lot of Gulfstream runners who I think will be making a good showing for themselves at Churchill Downs in a couple of weeks. But we'll see what happens. I just like the fact that I have some live runners at some decent prices. I think I ended up betting like $30 to win on Sovereignty at 9-1, which is, not terrible. We'll see what he goes off on Derby Day itself. Hopefully not higher than 9-1. That's the risk in these future pools. But meanwhile, forget about the Derby. This is Masters Week, and I did want to talk about real quickly. Did you see Jim Sarney sent us I guess it was a X post that had a snapshot, a picture of the concession stand at Augusta National, and the prices there. They have been true to form. They keep their concession prices low, and you know how you go to like the Panthers Arena and you get one beer and a hot dog, and you have to
like
make
$40,
it. Yeah, it's like $50. You have to basically drain your savings account. Did you see those pictures? The classic Chicken Club, which is like a Chick-fil-A sandwich on a bun, $3.
Okay.
And your favorite, which would be the pimento cheese Defo or the egg salad, $1.50 for.
And it costs you $4,000 to get in.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
They could afford to give you a couple of bologna sandwiches. So
well, it's kind of like going to the track.
I don't know that you're really saving a lot of money if you're among the fans there. Sure, it's nice not to get gouged at a concession stand, but first of all, who wants an egg salad sandwich on a hot dog?
In the summer, in the middle of the summer?
No.
Yeah. But you're weird. I mean,
now,
everybody knows that. Yeah.
It's springtime in Augusta.
So
usually the temperature
now?
could be anywhere from 40 degrees up to 70.
Okay, so it's
and
nice.
It's cool and crisp.
Okay.
And my favorite thing, in the press room, they would have crates upon crates of all these sandwiches that they would sell at the concession stand. Only in our case, it was free.
Yeah.
My 2 favorite thing, egg salad sandwich in the morning. And then they really wouldn't bring out the chicken sandwiches for us because that was too.
Oh, really? Because I was going to say, the chicken sounds like a big deal.
But they would have what's called these Masters Club, which is like ham and turkey and cheese on a bun.
Okay.
I would just devour like 2 of those in the afternoon, a couple of egg salad in the morning. Pimento cheese, you couldn't pay me to eat that crap because I think, my heart was a concern. If I had eaten pimento cheese all those years I was going to the Masters, I don't think I would be here today.
God.
What's your opinion of pimento cheese, Defo?
Right up there with head cheese, which I didn't mean that in any other way, than just talking about the food item, but always scared me a little bit when you were at the deli counter. Tongue was something I would never buy, and head cheese looked atrocious, didn't it?
Head cheese is not cheese.
How about olive oil bologna? That was always another one.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
that case?
Head cheese is not cheese. It's actually an amalgamation of parts from like a pig's head. So it's like cheeks and jowls and things like that. It's really scary. Pimento cheese is actually made with cheese, but you remember the old Saturday Night Live skit where it's a floor polish? No, it's a dessert topping.
Oh, Jesus.
Basically, pimento cheese is similar in that it's not just cheese that you put on a sandwich. It's also caulking that you could use around your house.
Oh, Jesus.
You can
Is that
really.
real?
No, I'm
You're
making
joking.
that up.
I'm like, I believed you for a second. The way pimento cheese tastes and looks, it would actually work on the corner in the kitchen.
You could put it in one of those squeeze guns and put
how many people go to the concession stand there at the Masters and go, "Hey, how about some real food, huh?" Listen, Hootie's not there anymore. Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie Johnson is long gone.
A more sophisticated guy that seems a little more neutral when it comes
Who
to.
was the guy who was? Well, Horde Harden was the guy when I first started going, and he was like a real old Southerner. Then there was the one who.
Well, they had green sheets that they shaped in a cone that they wore on their head when they were giving out the green transfer.
And then there was the one, I can't remember his name, but remember after Don Shula lost his wife Dorothy, he remarried the ex-wife Stevens. Marianne Stevens was her name, and it wasn't Woody Stevens, it was another Stevens who became the chairman of Augusta National Golf Club.
Oh, good.
And you know what? They've I don't know if they've actually moved into the 21st century, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
That's nice.
In terms of overall vibe and mores. But I do miss being a sports writer this week. This is the 1 week, Defo, where I feel those pangs of regret because I covered 13 Masters.
Oh, wow.
I got to play the course once on the day after where they have this media lottery drawing. First, I was on the blacklist for a while because of some of the questions I asked and things I said. But when they found out it was my last year covering it, somehow miraculously,
they're like, okay, go away.
And the way it works on the day after, they keep the pins in the same position as Sunday.
Nice.
They shave down and cut the greens as fast as they roll on Sunday. But it's like a scramble format, so you don't necessarily start at the first tee or even the 10th tee. You start at a random hole.
Okay.
Now, if you had your choice of least favorite shots to start your day before you fully warm up at Augusta National, can you imagine which one it would be?
No, because they all would be impossible for me to conceive of.
Well, 17 the word? What's the one?
Okay, what's the one that is the shortest, but
isn't
that
it like
you
a
see
par
people,
3, but like it's rough?
And it goes over Rays Creek, and it has this slope from back to front, and you see those balls where I think Tom Weiskopf took a 12.
Like 15, yeah.
No, number 12. Okay,
12.
So
right.
Where people put it into the shrink. Well, my first shot, I started on the 12th hole.
Oh, Jesus.
And I had no shame. It only played at about 155 yards.
But it's like water all around it.
But it's water in front. And if you miss in the wrong place, it's going to go right down slope into Rays Creek. And I pulled out my 9-wood. Yes, believe it or not, I had a 9-wood in the bag.
9-wood, okay.
And I hit that sucker. I
You
striped
crap
it
out of it.
right over the pin. And it was unbelievable because I thought, oh, my God. Now, what you don't realize is that you're not supposed to go right at the pin.
Because it'll roll, right?
On Sunday, because it's impossible if you're too short, it's going to go into the drink. And if you're too long, you're going to be facing a downhill putt where all you see is the hill in the water. You're supposed to put it to the left and then just put a side putt, But I striped this sucker. It landed 12 feet above the hole. So I'm facing on my first ever hole at Augusta National, a 12-foot birdie pot. And of course, what did I end up doing?
Right into the water.
Right into the water, drop, put one
Another
up.
thing into the water.
It's 6. I took a 6. I was 12 feet away. And it gives you an appreciation of what these pros really have to face.
Golf's insane.
It's
Golf's the
insane.
most ridiculous sport.
All right, we got to take our final break, and we'll come back with more on the Lunchbox to wrap it up from Grampa's after these words.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligans, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Guess who's back and better than ever? Juan's. For the best in classic old school Chinese cuisine, a family-run South Florida favorite since 1966. It's at 664 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, open every day but Tuesday for lunch and dinner. Chef Alex is carrying on the family tradition that started 4 generations ago. It used to be known as Christina Juan's Mandarin House, and you're going to love it as Juan's. They've got all your favorites: wonton soup, spare ribs, egg rolls, dumplings, Peking duck, and more. Combo lunch specials daily and takeout and delivery. For more information, go to their Instagram page at juans.fl. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Hey, it's Mayo here for Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information. All right, that's going to do it for today. Defo, any parting words, any words of wisdom for the people out there as we head into this turbulent Wednesday? I guess that would be no.
Lose him.
What was that now?
Don't worry about it. So one quick word before we go today. Just wanted to let people know that Casa D'Angelo, our friends up in Fort Lauderdale and Aventura, later this month are going to be having these wine dinners with our friend Dan Marino and Damon Eward. Passing Time Winery is the name of the vineyard out in Washington State that Damon Eward and Dan Marino co-founded a few years back, and they have some really nice wines. They're going to be having a beautiful dinner, pairing the wines with some of the great food at Casa D'Angelo. It's going to be April 22nd and 23rd at the Aventura and Fort Lauderdale locations. Go online to casa-d-angelo.com to get more information and make your reservations. That's going to do it for today. Tomorrow, we're on home turf. For you, Defo, we're going to be at Even Keel Fish Shack, and it's going to be another glorious day, I hope. And we'll see you out there tomorrow. We'll see everybody out there. Until then, enjoy every matzo ball and enjoy every sandwich.